In this video, we're going to learn how to do the hand sewing stitch called the prick stitch. So for this sample, you will need your fabric, a single threaded needle, scissors, ruler, marking tool, and pens. So the prick stitch is a variation of the back stitch. So to start that, we're going to do just like what we did with the back stitch. We're going to fold our fabric in half. Just kind of finger press that edge. And we're going to draw a stitch line. Draw a nice straight stitch line with our marking tool. Then I'm going to pin my fabric together so it doesn't slip around. These samples are small enough that you don't have to pin, but it's good practice to pin your samples so that you get used to working around pins. Okay, so for a prick stitch, this is also known as a running back stitch. It is basically the back stitch, just a slight variation. So we're going to start just like we did before. Go down and back up into the fabric. Okay, pull all the way through till I get to my knot. Now, something important to note about this is for this sample, this side with the stitch line, this is the right side. This is super important for the prick stitch because on one side, our stitches are going to be those really tiny stitches, and on the opposite side, it's going to look like the back stitch where those stitches are overlapping. So if we were doing the back stitch, we would go back down where this knot is and come back up. That's not what we're going to do this time. We're going to go down right next to this tail. And we're going to come up further down. So this is how our needle looks. We're going down right beside the tail this time for a prick stitch. I'm going to pull that through. And so now we have this itty bitty stitch. For a prick stitch, often we're just grabbing a couple of threads. So I'm going down right beside the tail, coming down, coming up, coming back out further down. Okay, so last time with the regular back stitch, this tail was right in the middle of the needle. Not this time. It's right beside the needle, and you're coming out about 1/4 of an inch down. This stitch is often used for hand applying zippers and any other seam that you need to be mostly invisible from a hand sewing seam, as well as strong and sturdy. Okay, so I'm just going down just right beside where that thread's coming out and going back down about 1/4 of an inch. So let's pause here and take a closer look. See how itty bitty those stitches are? That's why it's called the prick stitch, because you're just pricking a couple of stitches at a time. But it's a variation on the back stitch because the back looks just like the back stitch. So for the prick stitch, it's super important that you know which is your right side and which is your wrong side and that you're sewing on the correct side. So see how these are just kind of overlapping just a little bit? That's what we want. In a lot of ways, the prick stitch is a lot faster than the back stitch. It is strong. It's not quite as strong as the back stitch. So, if you were trying to do the prick stitch in order to hand sew a garment fully together faster, I would still go with a regular back stitch instead of a prick stitch. My goodness, my thread is just catching on everything. So we're just going down right beside and coming up about 1/4 of an inch down. We're going to go all the way down, just like that. Down and up. Itty bitty stitches. Think small thoughts. For this one, think regular size thoughts for the back stitch. And just like with the other samples, we're going to go all the way down. I'm coming towards the end. I'm going to take one last little stitch right here and come back up just right beside, just so that it finishes off nice and pretty on the other side. Okay. Now, if I was using this to install a zipper or something else where I needed this small invisible side, I would actually do my knot on the opposite side. For the purpose of the sample, your knot can be on either side, but I'm just going to show you that, yes, you can go through the fabric and do your knot on the opposite side if that's where you want it to be. Sometimes that is what you want your fabric to do. Trim this thread. Now let's take a closer look again. Okay, so this is the wrong side. See how the stitches are overlapping, but it makes one solid long line. But on the right side, it's those itty bitty tiny stitches. That is the prick stitch. Don't forget to take your pins out, and you're done.